I think I'll start by saying that, on behalf of the Spiral Carpet, 2014 is our biggest year since 1994.
Okay, listening to the Mouthcast. We're in the backstage room of a brand new venue, a venue that's opening tonight, actually, in the first turn, if I might use that word.
Yeah, first turn, I like that.
It's a DJ set from somebody who's probably more well known for his band ventures. From In Spiral Carpets, Clint Boon, welcome to the Mouthcast. Let's begin by asking what's the difference for you between a DJ set and a band?
I think being a DJ, it's an instant hit. I get in my car with a couple of bags, turn up at a venue, DJ for 2, 3, 4 hours. Love it, love every second of it because I play records that I love. Get paid for it, go home. So it's a dead simple but quick fix. You know what I mean? It's a similar buzz to being on stage with the band. I must say it is similar. But with the band, the preparation is just immense. You know, the weeks of rehearsal, sorting your equipment out, make sure that it's all going to work on the night, driving up for the gig, sitting around in a room like this for 3 or 4 hours waiting for the gig, going on stage doing the gig. It's a much more protracted experience being in a band or doing a performance than it is being a DJ and doing a DJ gig. Having said all that, there's nothing better than playing a song that you've written in your bedroom to 1,000 people and seeing them know the words and go mad for it. That's pretty special, really. But I think both being in a band, being a DJ in clubs, and I also have a radio gig 5 days a week for XFM. That's another buzz again. That's me for 3 hours a day, 5 days a week, being a knob between great records and getting paid for it. So I've got all these. I must be an extrovert person to do what I do, and I've got all these amazing vehicles to get that out. So I'm dead lucky, really, because it's not many people that get that sort of privilege, really, to be able to do all that kind of work. So I love it. And I've got 5 kids as well. We were just saying before we started the intro, I've got 5 kids, so I've got a lot going on outside of all my music activities as well. I have a drink before I go on stage with the Spirals. I'll have a couple of cans, but when I'm DJing, I can have a crate of cans and still pull it off because there's not as much brain work involved. It's just you get down with the crowd. That's what I do. I just get on the same level as the crowd. I never turn up to a gig knowing what I'm going to play.
Yeah.
I'll be DJing in less than an hour probably. I don't know what my first song is. I don't know what I'm going to play through the night. I'll get in the room, feel it, see what the people look like, see what they feel like. I don't mean feel like. I mean see what they feel like. What they feel like hearing, and I just take it from there. So yeah, it's where the band is like weeks and weeks or months and months of meticulous preparation. DJing just like turn up, play some records, get drunk, go home. You know what I mean?
Well, let's talk about meticulous preparation then, because very soon the first demo tape, I think, Dung 4, is about to come out on CD. It's been remastered, and Cherry Red are putting it out on CD. How much
and vinyl?
And vinyl.
Yeah.
So, looking back, did you just do it and record it and put it on cassette? And
the thing with it's been 20 years since we recorded new music. It's probably been that long since we started gigging abroad. We've not done gigs abroad until the last couple of years. We started going abroad again for the first time in decades. We're writing new songs which are going to come out towards the end of the year on a new album. In that 20 years in between 94 and 2014, there's been varying degrees of activity, but nothing ever as intense as what we're doing this year. So the first thing that's going to happen this year is Dung 4. That was recorded in 1987 in my little studio in Manchester. 11 songs recorded on a 4-track system, and it never came out. It came out on cassette. Back in the day we released it on cassette only, so it never came out as a proper album.
Yeah.
A few months ago I found the actual master tape of it, played it and realised it sounded pristine, so we decided to reissue it because that singer that was with us for that first 5 years of our career, Stephen, is now back with the band. So I thought we'll put that back out, which pretty much should have been our debut album in 87. It never came out because Stephen left soon after we recorded it. Then we got Tom Ingley, and then we started re-recording stuff, and that became our debut album live.
Yeah.
So Dung 4, I believe, was our first album, and it never came out. So in April this year on Record Store Day, you're going to be able to get Dung 4 for the first time on vinyl and CD, and download obviously. And in the meantime, we've pretty much finished our first new album in 20 years, which will come out in September. So both on Cherry Red, both in 2014, an album from 1987 and a brand new album with the same lineup. I think that's pretty fucking special, mate. That's like, there's been a lot of preparation.
It's different, isn't it?
Yeah, it's different. There's been a lot of preparation. This has been going on for months and months, if not years, me getting ready to get these tapes out, see if I can find the machines to play them on. Because all these, formats are obsolete. The tape was mastered onto a Betamax audio system in 1987. So I went and found the similar system that somebody had, played the tape, it sounded amazing. So I've remastered it, and it's brilliant because it's the same lineup, so it sounds the same as what we're putting out in September. It's the same singer, it's the same organ, it's the same everything. And I just think it's almost like the bookends of our career coming out in the same year. It's where it started and where it's up to. In between, there was all these other tracks that we recorded. Tom Engler was with us for 20 years. He was a great singer, but he left 3 years ago, so we just carried on, got Stephen back in, carried on. It's been a really unusual path, the Inspirals, but this year I think is probably the biggest year in our history in terms of what we're doing and what's going to be available.
So what was it like listening back to that first cassette then, to Done For? What was it like listening back to that at 25 years plus?
27 years. I said when I wrote the sleeve notes for it, and I said everything that we've ever done in the Inspirals career, that was the most goosebumpy experience that I've had. Listening to that, which I've not heard since 87, literally I've not played it since 87. It only ever came out on cassette, so it sounded shit anyway. Cassettes became obsolete soon after that. We all moved on to CDs, so you had no reason to revisit this dodgy little cassette. We're all listening to CDs and DAT tapes and all this kind of mini disc and that.
Yeah,
so I'm saying this album got buried in the shelves of time. It just got put away and forgotten about. So when we came up with the idea recently of trying to revisit it and put it out, and I went digging for the tapes, anything that was mastered onto reel-to-reel tape back in those days pretty much crumbles now.
Yeah.
Right, the magnetic tape has deteriorated, so a lot of people find they get these old tapes out reel-to-reel and they crumble. I got the Betamax master for this Done For session, and I located somebody who had the machine that would play it. It's not just a Betamax machine, you've got to link it into a special Sony thing that was built around the same time. So I got these machines together, put the tape in, and it just came on. It just sounded like the day it was recorded. So I thought, we're on a winner. This is going to be easy, you know what I mean? So we've remastered it, sparkled it up a bit. Because I recorded it in the first place. It was my baby back in 87. It was me that sat there recording it and bouncing. If you don't know anything about recording, to get all those sounds onto 4 tracks, it's a bit of a science, you know what I mean? So there's a lot of bouncing, and I remember doing it, and I remember thinking at the time it was special. It's our first album. We didn't have a record deal, we had no money, we all had day jobs, and we recorded this album, which subsequently didn't come out. So the idea is coming out now 27 years later. Pretty exciting. I'm buzzing about it.
The first album that did come out, Life, was reissued last year as a deluxe edition with various B-sides and things like that.
Yeah, that was our official debut album, Life, and there was a lot of great memories around it. We had a record deal eventually, and people started throwing money at us. We started touring the world.
Did you feel like old masters by that time, because you'd gone through the experience of Done For and all that? I
wouldn't say old masters. We knew we were on our way. We had we had the pick of the crop in terms of British record labels.
Yeah.
They wanted to sign us back in '89. Every major label wanted this band because John Peel was a massive fan. Every fanzine in the country was raving about the Inspiral Carpets, and that was a big thing. The fanzine culture back then was it was like Facebook, it was like the equivalent. That network of us spreading the word. So we had all the major labels were after us, so we knew we were on a winner. You know what I mean? Having John Peel play us every night and rave about us, that was enough for us. We knew that we were doing it right.
Yeah.
Because that was the bloke that educated us into what good music was anyway. So
what was the stuff then that Peel played that turned you on, if you like?
He would play everything from, indie bands like the Bodines and the Close Lobsters. He'd play psychedelic music from America, from Texas, from the 1960s. He was the first person that I heard playing rap music. I remember the first night I heard him playing Grandmaster Flash on the Wheels of Steel, whatever that track was called. I heard him play it that night and it was like, fucking hell, I've never heard a sound like this.
Yeah.
And I've still got the cassette of him playing it. And I remember going on holiday the next day I think we went to Wales for a week or two with my girlfriend at the time, and listening to this recording every day, this like 6 minute long track, The Adventures of Grandmaster Flash on the Wheels of Steel. It was like, I've never heard music like it, and that was rap, and it was the early hip hop, it was all that. You know, later on he'd introduced me to Einstein Neubart or some other weird band that I've never heard of. And all the time there'd be the indie stuff, you know, he'd be feeding us the latest wedding present music and the Fall. You'd always hear the new Fall stuff through John and decide if it was worth buying or not. So John Peel, it was a lot to me. He was like the man who educated me into music from probably 75, 76 onwards. He educated me. He was then one of the first people to pick up on our band. You know, he started playing our band, so he helped us to get a career in the industry, literally. And then after that, we got to know him, and then he welcomes you into his family, so you get to know his family and his kids and his wife and his dog, and you know, that inspired me into realising that you can be that music icon on the radio and still have a normal family life, and you can talk about your wife on the radio, you know, which I do as a radio presenter now, you know what I mean? So it just inspired me, probably more than any other individual ever in my life. John Peel was responsible for. I
think it kind of opened up the idea that it's not a pose. It doesn't have to be a kind of an iconic thing to visualise. You can just be who you are and do music as well.
You can be who you are. I was on the radio today. I was talking about Johnny Marr, saying what an icon Johnny Marr is and what a genius he is in terms of his instrument. He's a master of his instrument, but he's also, when you meet him, he's just a nice bloke who's got kids, and he loves his kids and he loves his wife. And I'm of that world. I'm not into pretending I'm something different. I'm a father of 5. I'm dead lucky to have the jobs that I've got, and that's it really. People subscribe to what I do, and I'm grateful. Whether it's, you know, they buy me records, they listen to my radio show, they come to my DJ gigs, so people like what I do, so I just keep doing it as long as I can.
So let's talk about somebody who, I'm sure you'll have been asked this no end of times, of course, somebody who used to work for you, who appears to be beyond that, let's say, Noel Gallagher. Would you have ever imagined that he would come out of your shadow, if you like, and do what he's done?
I always knew Noel was going to be a musician in his own right, because that's how he came to us. When Steve and our singer left in 87, 88, Noel came to audition for us to be our singer. So he came to us as a singer. That's what he wanted to do. He had his own songs. We didn't like his way of singing, but we liked him as a bloke, so we took him on as a roadie, and he was with us for 4 years. So I think all that time, I knew he was going to go on and do his own music, but I don't think any of us could have predicted, even Noel couldn't have predicted, the fact that he was going to capture the nation's spirit in such a special way, which he did. He just, the perfect timing for what he was saying in his songs. People were ready for that. The Roses had packed it in, you know what I mean? There's no Stone Roses.
Tories were coming to an end as well.
Yeah, there was a different sort of enthusiasm on the horizon, and you know, and you had these bunch of lads from Manchester that looked smart, and they were saying all the right things. You know, I want to live forever, cigarettes and alcohol, rock and roll star. You know, you don't want to be a rock and roll star. It's like everything they said in every song, people related to it. And Noel admits, you know, when I speak to Noel or when we hear Noel talking, he admits that he learnt a lot of that from the Inspirals in terms of the things we did right and the things we did wrong. Noel took all that on board and made sure that Oasis did everything right.
Do you ever sort of look and think, there's me boy?
Oh yeah.
You know, I can see the way he reacted to that interview, or what he did in that video, or the chord change he made there.
Yeah, I'm not. No, I think there's my boy, but I wouldn't try and get too much credit for what he does, because we got him on the path.
Yeah.
He went on, you know, he did his thing, like you do with your kids. You raise your kids a bit when they go on the way, but I think he would have done it anyway. You know what I mean? He was such a focused soul in terms of he wanted to do music. Even if we hadn't come along, he'd have found another vehicle to get himself into the industry. So, yeah, we get credit for it, and we did help him a lot. But he's just such a phenomenal writer and performer that he would have got through anyway. You know what I mean? So, yeah, but I think we'll have give us 20% of the credit on that one.
20% of the money would probably be all right, wouldn't it?
Fucking brilliant. Yeah, I'll have a bit of that.
So what you were just saying about they came along and they were saying the right things, and people sort of they just struck a chord. And what chords do you think the Inspirals struck? Because I mean, I remember walking down the high street in my town and seeing the flares and the cow t-shirts and all that, and thinking, hang on, there's something going on around this band.
I think we contributed quite a lot. as did the Roses and the Mondays and James. You know, we when Manchester happened, there was 3 big bands. It was us, the Mondays and the Roses.
Yeah.
And we're all part of this scene. But in actual fact, none of us sounded like the others. You know what I mean? We didn't really look like the others either, you know, really. But it just became this package, and each band contributed their own special things. So I brought the ball head to the table, and I was one with the ball head that everybody started copying, and the psychedelic shirts, and I was like a big psychedelic kid, so I had a lot of that going on.
So I can exclusively reveal that the short hair that you sport in current photographs is actually a wig, because you've pre-going on tonight, you're actually without your wig, and there is the bowl cut.
Oh yeah, that's right, yeah. I've got my ball. I wish I had a ball. I'm 54 now, I can't have a ball head ever again. I'd look right twat, wouldn't I? But I think, we all contribute our own things to the scene. Yeah. The Mondays brought a funkiness to it that none of us had. The Roses brought a self-belief and an arrogance that none of us had. You know what I mean? So we all learnt off each other. We looked at the Roses and thought, you know what? We're fucking like that as well. And Sean Ryder, every time we put a record out, used to fax us, believe it or not. Yes, fax. He used to fax our office saying, another great single guy. So he used to compliment us on our songwriting. I used to see the Mondays, and every time I saw them play live, I'd want to just jack it in because I could never be that good. So we're all very supportive of each other, you know what I mean, which is nice, really. So I think as a scene, I don't know what we brought some good songwriting sensibilities to the table. I think that's what we did, in the vein of the Kinks and all that sort of classic British songwriting. The Roses brought an attitude and a groove, and the Mondays just brought the biggest party you've ever seen, and they put it on the stage in front of you. It was like watching a load of people empty the wheelie bins, but it was the best thing you've ever seen and heard in your life. It was just proper chaos, you know what I mean? Amazing.
So we'll round up, because you've got to get on, I think, in a minute. Let's finish by asking you, because we are going to talk again when the new stuff comes out, but let's finish up by asking, what's the motivation for doing the new stuff? Was it a kind of spiritual thing, or wanting to reconnect with the guys, or was it...
It just seemed like the natural next thing to do. Tom left 3 years ago. We got Stephen back in because we were about to do some gigs, hits related, singles related. Yeah. Got Stephen back in. It sounded brilliant, the vibe in the band's right, so we just thought, let's start writing again and see what happens. We started writing. The new songs are phenomenal, I think. And as a songwriter, I've not really been bringing much to the table. In the past, I've written a lot of the songs. This time, these are songs that other guys in the band have started to put together. I've put everything that I can into the keyboards, the arrangements and the backing vocals on every one of these tracks. So I've given them the best shot, and I just think it sounds definitive in spirals and really exciting and contemporary as well. I mean, I'm on the radio 5 days a week, as I mentioned before, for XFM, and it's like, I know what is contemporary and what is working. Yeah. And some of the stuff that Inspirals are recording this week, last week, the week before, it sounds as contemporary as Kasabian, the Vaccines, Jake Vogue. There's all elements of that in there, you know what I mean? So I think, I'm not saying we're going to have a hit. We're not chasing a hit, but it wouldn't surprise me. We have a couple of successful tracks off this next new album.
I look forward to hearing it, Clint.
Yeah, it's going to be good. You'll love it.
Thanks very much, and speak to you later in the year then.
Great to talk to you. Thank you for having me.
Really bothering me.